Funny bastard. Funny bastard.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Bastard podcast. I think it's episode 9. I've lost count now, we're doing so many. Thank you all for listening. We have, as always, our fantastic sponsors. Callum's going to do it this week.
Yes.
I've promoted them.
Okay, we're back at Slide Away Records. There's space here to record your own podcast or music with 24-hour access. Check them out on Instagram or go to www.slideawaygroup.co.uk. And also, this episode is brought by Eye Candy for all your sweetie needs and Black Label, who have provided us with some lovely clothing.
Oh, and don't forget Hot Water Comedy Club.
And Hot Water Comedy Club. 7 nights a week for some wonderful comedy.
Right.
Shouldn't laugh at your sponsors. They're paying your bills.
I was laughing.
Shouldn't laugh at the sponsors. I'd like to apologise to the sponsors. You've got no right to laugh at the sponsors. That's paying the bills. 50 years I've been working in commercial radio. Thank God they pay me bills. Welcome, sponsor. Love the sweets. Dear, oh dear. Straight to Arrow Park Hospital after
For those people who are not watching the video, who are listening, that voice you hear and completely take over the podcast is the one and only legend that is Pete Price. Welcome, Pete Price, everyone.
I have an exclusive. Where's the camera? I have an exclusive. No one has seen these yet. Lizard socks. That's the latest in the lizard range. Can you believe that? Lizard socks. It's gone completely out of hand.
You're really leaning into the lizard thing now, aren't you, Pete?
Excuse me, I'm making money out of it now. Why not?
At what point did you think, fuck it, I'm just going to have to lean into this lizard thing? 'Cause
I embraced it because I've had several things happen over the years. I mean, you know, I was working before you two were born, by the way. I don't know who you are, but I love the legs. Anyway, it's going to be very...
I told you he was going to flirt with you.
Very, very flirt. I'm taking him home. So... you've got to embrace it. If you don't embrace it, it makes you look stupid.
Yeah.
If you think about what was his name, Craig Davis, and
Craig David with the bow selector thing.
Bow selector,
Yeah.
He killed his career.
Yeah, for
it
a while.
actually killed his career for a while. Yeah, thank God he's good because he's a great talent. But he didn't embrace it, and he should have embraced it.
Yeah.
I mean, that dreadful poster, which I will not even say on the podcast, which was the Liverpool game in Istanbul all those years ago. Pete Price's and the C word. Have you never seen that? No. You've never seen that story?
No.
You've never heard that story?
Go on, tell us, Pete.
Oh, my word. So I couldn't go to the match. One of the greatest games of football ever.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of it, the way they turned it around, it was an amazing game of football. So I was at home because I was doing gigs, and I was really upset I couldn't get to Istanbul. And the phone went several times from around the world saying, have you got the telly on? And I went, no, get the telly on. I put the phone down. Somebody rang me from Paris, from Australia. I didn't know what was going on. My phone was going daft. I put the telly on, and there is a full-size poster of a double sheet of a double bed with Pete Price's The C word. I'm not going. I really am not going to say
the C word.
No, I'm not going to say it because I've said it 1,000 times. Thank you. Pete Price is. Now, picture this. So they've got a guy talking about the football match, and it's behind him.
Yeah.
So they're moving him to cover the word.
That's next level
And
trolling.
they're moving the sheet. So the sheet's permanently on worldwide, to which the national newspapers followed the story up, the Echo followed, everybody followed the story. And long story short, I got the guys in, and I said, why me, lads, from Height and the Were? Sadly, one of them's died now, which is sad. Nice, because I got to know them, they're great. And I said, why me, lads? And they said, Pricey, you know, we were in the pub, you know, doing the banner, and we said, who's the biggest? And everyone said you. And that was the poster. Now, I embrace, it's a horrible word. It's a very brutal word. It's a word I don't ever use on stage as a comic, but it's a brutal word. But I embraced it, and the story went on. And if you put it into Google, the word Pete Price, and it just comes up straight away. And then next year the banner was up again. Pete Price is still so they used it twice. So the point I'm making is, with the lizard thing, you embrace it.
Yeah.
I embraced the other thank God my mother wasn't alive, because she would never have been able to cope with that. And I wouldn't have been able to cope with that, because it is horrible. But they love you in Liverpool when you embrace it.
Yeah, definitely. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, for anyone who doesn't, I know you're a legend. You're very well known. But for anyone who doesn't know, what, as I understand it, what came about is you've had a long-standing late night phone-in show.
I've been a stand-up comic for 50 years. I've had a radio show for 40 years.
Yeah.
I've won 28 awards for my show, which I'm pleased about. I
still
was
got them all?
inducted into, yes, absolutely. I was inducted into the Radio Academy of Fame, that was the greatest.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
That was amazing. So that's my biggest accolade, and I've done 33 years of pantos. Oh yes, I have.
But
shall I tell you my favourite story?
Oh, go on, you can say
my favourite story of panto. I've got a billion stories of panto, but I was with Cilla Black, and she's a dear friend. And when she died, it was a great, great loss to me, and it was a horrible time. But 2008, she came out of retirement for the end of the Capital Culture, and we did panto. People came from all over the world. You couldn't buy a ticket. People came from Australia, from America. It was just the most amazing thing on this earth. But I was there the night. I was an ugly sister, and I was there the night it happened, and she had the sword, and Cilla was there, and she went, "How shall I kill him?" And somebody went, "Sing to him." Only Liverpool. No one else but Liverpool. And she walked off the stage, and people thought she was angry. She wasn't angry. She'd wet her knickers laughing. By the way, I've got to congratulate you on the audience.
Cheers, Pete.
No one could see them. We were using Showbiz there.
If I'd have put it out, I'd have filled this place once. Yeah, very popular. Seven seats. And who's the fellow with the guitar just now?
Oh, that's Danny Bradley, who does our jingles and songs every week. He's a very talented man.
Jingles for the sponsors or just jingles?
Just jingles for us. You can do a jingle for you if you want, Pete.
I'd love a jingle.
Do Pete's jingle for Pete.
I'd love a jingle.
Is Pete not a lizard or something?
Nice. It's Pete Price.
Can we have one saying Pete Price is not a
horny,
cunt?
that, isn't it?
It's good. Oh, yeah.
If you'd have sung that, it'd been even more horny.
Buy me a drink, Pete.
Buy you a drink, I'll buy you in the
Price
studio.
is not a cunt.
All has been redeemed, Pete. You know what? I always, I don't know if you remember this, but I always tell people what a nice guy you are, because we have met before. I don't know if you remember. We did a show together for Angie McCartney. You hosted this Beatles thing in the Philharmonic.
At the Philharmonic.
And I had to step in and host the second half because you had to get off and do your.
I remember I had to go and do my show, yeah.
Yeah, and you were it was the biggest audience I'd ever done at that time.
It was to launch the book.
Yeah. And I was very, very nervous, and you were very nice to me and gave me a lot of advice, and you even went out and gave me a lovely introduction, made sure the audience were lovely for me, and they were very nice for the rest of the show, and you really eased me in, Pete, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, that's a nice thing to say. Well, Ange does my radio show.
Yeah.
Still, she's now 90.
Is she?
She's 90 years old, and I'll get my plug out the way. I'm still on radio. I cut down after doing 5 nights a week for 40 years, but I still am on a Sunday night on Radio City Talk and the greatest hits from 10 o'clock to 1. But the last part of the show, Ange McCartney comes on live from Hollywood, and we've been doing it now for 15 years.
And what she gives you, like showbiz gossip and
And
stuff?
we just talk about showbiz gossip, what's going on, and her new book, and it's really interesting. She does a thing called T-Flicks, which she has a guest in the house, but she's 90 years old. But that was a great weekend when she launched her first ever book.
It was a lovely show.
Yeah.
I was really excited to do it. Yeah. The best thing about the thing that stands out for me, because like all the Beatles, but I don't know if you'd gone by this point. I think that my favourite band that night, there was a Japanese Beatles tribute band.
They were tremendous. I saw them.
Oh yeah,
No, I
they were
saw them,
amazing.
yeah.
But the best, I was backstage because we were backstage in that corridor, weren't we? Standing off to the side of the stage, and they were all getting ready, and they were speaking in Japanese to each other, obviously, because they're Japanese. But they had the odd English word that they would drop in, but the English word would be in like an old Scout, like a John Lennon Scout accent. So they were like, a bass guitar. I was like, it's really, like, I couldn't get my head around it. It was amazing.
No, they were a good band.
Yeah, they were very, very good. When they started singing, they sounded Scouse. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Because they learned to speak in Scouse.
Yeah. It was
by
crazy.
listening to the
by
words.
listening to the Beatles. So let's go back to it because I wanted to find out a bit more about. Because obviously everyone knows you do radio show and stuff like that. Everyone knows you're a stand-up comedian. But you've been doing stand-up for 50 years.
50 years now.
How is that? How did you get into doing that?
It's quite a long story. I'll cut it right down. By the way, I did have an autobiography which was a bestseller. You can't buy it anymore now, because it's not in the shops. But you can get it on Amazon for £1. Seriously, it's called Pete Price, Name Dropper. But I say that for a reason. I am very proud of the book. I'm dyslexic. I have problems with reading. I have problems with writing. But I am so proud, and it was a bestseller. So there's an awful lot in the book. So I'll just skirt on this story. But I was basically wanted to go in show business when you two weren't born. That's scary.
Yeah.
That is scary. You two weren't born when I was born. Because the age difference. How old are you?
24.
I'm 37.
I'm 74.
74?
Not very well, Pete.
74. So, the difference there is ridiculous. So, I wanted to go in show business. I listened to my mum. For the first time in my life, I listened. And she said, get a trade and then try for show business. So, I always wanted to be a chef. Always wanted to be a hairdresser. Didn't know which I wanted to do. So, I went to catering college, and the first time in my life I passed exams and did really well, and was working for Peter Collins, who was Andrew Collins' dad, who was a famous hairdresser in his own right. So I did my apprenticeship for them and that. And then I came to a crossroads and went, which one am I going to go down? And I went down catering because I got sick to death of women nagging and moaning about their husbands and all the aggravation and their lovers and their boyfriends and what's going on in their life. And where am I today? I do a late night phone with women moaning about women and husbands and dads. So anyway, I went down that road and I went to sea and I went to work in London. I was on the Empress of Canada, which was in the days when the ships left Liverpool. It was big, big business. And it was phenomenal. And then one day I was working at the Swan in Wood Street, which is still there. It's a biker's pub now.
Yeah. I was in there not long ago.
Well, I was the assistant manager there.
Oh, yeah.
And upstairs, in the upstairs bar, was called the Steering Wheel Cocktail Bar. And it was the first cocktail bar in the city. And we had racing drivers, the most exclusive people who used to come in. And that's another story. Then I was working at the Cabin Club at the top of the road. So the Cabin Club, not the Cavern, the Cabin at Wood Street. So there's the Swan.
It was on the corner, that was it? Yeah.
There. We didn't have doorman in those days. We had a woman called Mrs. Windsor, Brian Gilbertson, and nobody got past her. She wouldn't let the Beatles in. Long hair. They're scruffy bastards not coming in. Wouldn't let the Beatles in. We've gone. Not coming in. You just Paul McCartney, not coming in. Didn't get him. So I was the chef there, and they had 3 restaurants, and it was a very exclusive place. And I have got the menus from still in perfect order. And at Christmas Eve, because I did a thing, because I still write for the Liverpool Echo every Thursday, so I do that as well. So I'm always working on my column, and I found the menus. Christmas Eve, entrance and meal was 10 and 6. Which is old money, which would be maybe about 75 pence. And New Year's Eve with dinner was a guinea, which was £1, 1 shilling. That was there. And the food was incredible in those days. It was prawn cocktail, steak and chips, and black forest gatto. That was the food. Anyway, I was there, and I was the chef, and I wore the chef's hat. One day, the band, who were a trio, fabulous, Billy Ellis trio, was sensational. It's real, proper double bass and real music. He'll know all about that. Real music. It was incredible. And I said, you need a disco here. And they said, what's a disco? Because there was no discos. Billy Butler was doing something at the Mardi Gras. I didn't know what a disco. I'd never been to one. I knew about them, but I'd not been to one. So I said, oh, right, fine. And they said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm running 3 restaurants. Well, just put a few records in. If it works, it works. So I'll never forget it. I had 1 turntable and 10 records. And it was like, everyone up, clap your hands, come on. And it worked. It was mental. But the band felt a bit threatened. Because in my day, you didn't dance to records. You danced to live music and rested when the new live music stage. You never danced to records. These days, you walk off to the live music. Yeah. So this is a very long story short. Anyway, I'll tell you how much I was earning. So I was earning £15 a week. I'll tell you that for a reason, because I was running 3 restaurants. So I was working 16 hours a day. I mean, I was flogging myself to death for 15 quid a week. So we started putting the records on, and it was working. And they said, we want to meet you. So we went for a meeting, and they said, how do you fancy being the DJ? I said, pardon? I thought, you can't get money for putting records on. That's ridiculous. So I went and told my mother. She cried her eyes out. Oh, son, all those years at catering college. What is it? Put records on. Oh, son, you can't do that. Anyway, so I went to them. So I thought, they said, how much do you want? And I went, pardon? I thought, you can't ask for money for playing records. You really can't. So I'm on 15 quid a week, right? Working every hour God sends. And this was going to be 4 hours. So I said, how much do you want? I went, 2 hours. Yeah. They went, well, pay you 20 quid. And I went, what? I went, 25 and that's it. And the first week I went, can't ask for me money. Have you got me money? Can I have my wages? I was embarrassed to ask for the money. Took the money, never was embarrassed again. I turned that club around. It turned into the most amazing. We had party nights. We had foam before anyone was doing foam. We did the most fabulous. And that's where I started as a DJ. And then the Shakespeare came up, and the Shakespeare was the most beautiful theatre on God's earth in Fraser Street, round the corner from London Road. They burnt it down. I built in 1880. They were looking for a compere, and I went in, and the first night I told 3 gags, played the records, sang one song, because I have a CD out as well. One song, I've done everything. I mean, and I do Grindr. I do Grindr.
Are you on Grindr?
No. So
I was going to join Grindr.
Steve Price might be on Grindr.
So I went. So I got a standing ovation the first night. I did 3 gags, sang one song, put some records on, because standing ovation. I was a star. Overnight, I was a star. I was the biggest thing to ever hit. For 4 years, I got tables thrown at me, chairs thrown at me, booed. I learnt my trade. That's when I became a comic. That's it in a nutshell.
That's a good story. That's an amazing
I love
story.
Just touching on it.
Quick question. We had a look at your Wikipedia page, and apparently when you pass away, you're going to release an autobiography called The Bitch Is Back.
Yep. I thought of it long and hard. Everyone said, because the book was such a bestseller, what should I do about it? And I thought, our second book is going to be called The Bitch Is Back. It's every straight guy I've slept with on the Wirral. And it can only come out, because I was a slag years ago. It can only come out when I'm dead.
So you're just going to ruin lives.
They'll sue me. Oh, to destroy
do more
lives.
damage to the Wirral than the coronavirus.
Tell you a true story. Tell you a true story about that, where it came from.
Can't go with the show.
I was working in the Kingsland, and I was a slag years ago. Pre-AIDS, you could be a slag. I was a slag. And I went out with girls as well. I was fighting my sexuality. That's another program. Anyway,
you're just fucking
everything. So I'm on as a comic in the middle of the boxing, and the boxing is huge.
a tough gig, isn't it?
Hardest gig in the world. And I was there. I'm just putting myself on the stage now. So I'm in the ring. I knew every single person in the audience because I used to on the ring. I am going to behave myself so much. I am determined not to swear. I've had so much shit over the years. So I'm in the ring, and they're not listening to me. And in the end, I went, shut up. And they shut up for a second. I said, right, you all know who I am. We all know I'm a very famous gay man. And I know who all you are, because you come to Rupert's, you come to Leighton Court, you're all my customers, and I love you all dearly. But if you don't listen to me, I'm going to name everyone in this room I've slept with. And there was an awful lot, I promise you. I'm nothing special, but by God, I could pull. I said I'd name everyone. You could hear a pin drop in that room. I got a standing ovation. But all through the boxing, they were sitting round, and I'm doing my comedy, and all you saw was from certain people. Seriously.
So have you written them all down? Genuinely.
No, it's a joke. That I
was gonna
couldn't
say.
do that to anyone. No. Do you know what? When I did my autobiography, I never named anybody I slept with or was involved with. I don't like that. That's private. Seriously. Joking apart, you know, if I was a heterosexual man, a gay man, whatever I am, when you have a relationship, it's between two people. And when you fall out, keep the memories. Keep the memories. Don't be evil. There's a few autobiographies like that. David Essex did an autobiography, wouldn't name names. I just thought that was nice.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I mean, I took one friend. I could write a full book on what happened with him because it was explosive, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want anyone to do it to me, so why do it to anyone else? You know.
Yeah. How are you still doing comedy much now? Do you still gig about, or?
I still gig. I'm doing a lot more comparing.
Yeah.
Because then with comparing, you can pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you can enjoy the gags you like and the way you work. Comedy's getting very hard, very very hard. And also, I'm in my twilight years. I don't want to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't want to do as much as I can. Sorry, I'll say that again. I don't want to do much anymore because I don't need to. I'm delighted to say I've been sensible with my money and I've got a few bob, so I'm sensible that way. The saddest thing about getting old for me, and I was talking to Stan Boorman about it, and he's so right, is when you're older, you can't play buttons, you can't play wishy-washy, you can't play the comedy role in
the Panther.
because it looks strange now in this world that we live in. Cinderella can't have a 74-year-old as her best friend. I'm sorry, that's verging on a different world, you know. And Grinder's still going, so that's that's sad. And I always remember Stan saying that. Yeah, you can play the Baron, you can play Ugly Sister, but the big, as a comic, the big role is the wishy-washy and buttons.
So what did you do Panto last year?
I did. Oh yes, now I'm at the age now, which is wonderful. I'm at the age now where I can play the voiceovers. So I was Puff the Magic Dragon last year. Why you have to be a puff? In fact, I'll give you my opening line. Are you ready? It was a little verse. Here we go. Puff the Magic Dragon couldn't find his mate, so he frolicked in the autumn mist, accustomed to his fate. Then one day he found her, a lovely bit of stuff, but he didn't know what to do with her. That's why they call him Puff. That's how I opened the pants. And then the kids had to explain that. Thank you for the chord. They had to explain that then to the parents, the kids.
I love that.
But the exciting thing now is the play. Have you heard about the play?
No.
Oh my word. Well, I'm surprised. You must be the only people in the world who haven't heard about it. Leanne Campbell came to me and said to me, I've had an idea to write a play. Now, she's been my friend for years. So she was a little girl in my first panto, and she's grown up to a star, and she's a mega talent. So I sat down for 20 minutes and talked away. I didn't talk. She talked. Told me the idea for the panto, and my jaw hit the table, which I still, to this day, can't believe it. I freaked. I went to Kevin, who owns the Royal Court. I said to Kevin, there's an idea I want to talk to you about. I told him. He never spoke for 20 minutes. He said, I want to meet Leanne Campbell. He met Leanne Campbell and said to her, give me 20 pages of script. On the strength of 20 pages of script, we start rehearsal on the 17th of February. Hang on. Start 17th of February, 3 weeks rehearsal, and we open on the 7th of March for a month. It's selling absolutely ridiculously. We put the poster up outside on that fantastic thing about 5 weeks ago, and it's doing the most ridiculous business. And it's called Pete Price is Dead.
Oh God! So what's the?
It's about Radio City. Yeah. Radio City's getting sold. I'm part of the deal. In the middle of my show, I die. They've got to keep me alive till the deal goes through.
Oh, that sounds good. That
unbelievable. Ray Quinn's playing my producer. He's just signed up for us.
Amazing.
He's playing Archie, my producer. Lindsay. Lindsay Germain, sorry, Lindsay. Lindsay Germain's in it. Michael Fletcher, Stephen Fletcher's director. We've got such a fabulous cast. The script I only got yesterday is the funniest thing. I mean, just to give you, I wouldn't give anything away, but to give you an idea. I said, where do I make my money? She said, easy, selling your CDs and the grapes in Matthew Street. I said, but that's an awful lot of money to make you fabulously wealthy. You're not declared tax. What? And I'm in it. I play the corpse.
You'll be good at that, I reckon.
I'm playing myself as a corpse. Do you know that's one of the hardest jobs ever, to be a corpse? To actually lie there. There was a play on called The Royal, and Les Dennis's son played the corpse. There was a corpse in the body, in the bed, in the hospital. It's to sit still and want to cough and also watch your breathing because they want to look, see if you can.
Yeah,
I mean, they build
see
a
if you can
costume
see
so
your
you don't see breathing anyway. But it's difficult, but I'm very excited. So I'm alive at the beginning. And then I die in a certain way, and then something happens at the end. But they throw me down the chute. They've got a dummy.
I hope you come back as a ghost.
No, I'm coming back
Reincarnated as a little lizard. Yeah.
Come back as a lizard.
Just a little lizard on the stage.
Yeah. Welcome. There's Price. Somebody stands on him. Oh, he's
How
been
did that
wiped
start,
out.
by the way?
Very easy, very easy. I've just told, and if you want to read it, you can always listen to or read my columns online on my Twitter or whatever. It's the most stupid thing on God's earth. 4 years ago, a young boy came on my show. He's purportedly 14 years old, and said to me, "Why won't you have David Icke?" Now, do you know who David Icke is? Do you know
he's the one who believes everyone.
Right, let me tell you David Icke. David Icke was a story and a half. David Icke, long story short, was a very famous sports commentator, a very famous, and I've eventually got to interview him, so I know all the story, and I know David as well. He went to see a psychic. A psychic said, "You are going to be a messenger, and you put on this earth for something special." And he announced on Terry Wogan's show, which was a huge evening show, that he was the Godhead, that he was here to change the world, and he was ridiculed for many years. He can now fill a stadium for 50 quid a head as a conspiracy theorist, so he got the last laugh, but I mean, he had a bad time over it. But he believed, and it's written, and it's in my article, it's also in his books, which he's written 25 books. He believes that there on this earth are shape-shifting lizards, that the royals are shape-shifting lizards, that the bankers are shape-shifting lizards. Now, see, you're laughing. Right, no, but you're laughing because this is the way it's developed. This lad came on, and so he said, "Why haven't you had David Icke on?" I said, "He won't come on my show." And all he said was, "Because you're a shape-shifting lizard." That's all he said. Now, you see, you're laughing now, but that's all he said. So that was the statement. It then turns out that this boy, or this young man, is a wrestling freak. So he goes to America. He's got money, and he goes to America to all the WW, whatever they are. He gets Hulk Hogan to hold a poster saying, which goes 2.5 million hits. Paul McCartney gets a poster. And it's now where we are today. And there was videos all over the world. A friend of mine on the Eiffel Tower, people I said, listen, with the flag. Then in the football matches, it went ridiculous. Now, I can lecture in universities about media studies.
Yeah.
And I'll go on stage, and there'll be 600 people in the audience, and they're all going, I went, right, let's get it out the way. I'm not a lizard. And they laugh for 20 minutes. Then we get on with it. But if you are, as comics, as people that love comedy, why has it become funny? Why?
I don't know why it's funny, but it is funny though.
I did Camp of Fairness the other week, and I hosted the quiz as a lizard.
Well, that's your picture on your Wikipedia page, is you as a lizard.
Just. And everyone wants the photo with a lizard. No one will sleep with me as a lizard. That's the next step.
That should be your grinder.
Grind it
again. The only hot-blooded lizard in the world.
Oh no, they're all hot-blooded. Oh no, they're cold-blooded, aren't they? Yeah, it depends. Those knees are driving me mental. We should cover them up a bit, please. There's no need for it. If I find him on Grindr tonight, there's going to be murders.
He's all over Grindr.
Because he needs a sugar daddy. And
His
he's got
brother's
one
on
sitting next to him.
Grindr. His brother looks exactly like him. He's on Grindr, actually. Isn't
Really?
he? Your Jordan will be on Grindr, won't he?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be all over that.
Very nice. I'm not on Grindr, by the way. Just for
Yeah, you are.
Peter's definitely on Grindr.
I'm on Saga.
You're on Grindr.
The over
but it's just-
60s.
It's just a body pic.
I wouldn't put any pick on. Talking about that, I've had a bad chest for 4 weeks and they've put me on steroids. Look, I'm getting tits. It's great. With the steroids. It's
What,
amazing.
getting hench?
No, I'm getting tits.
Getting actual tits.
Well, I think so. The steroids are supposed to be healing my chest. My chest's getting bigger. Very nice. Thanks, Doc.
That'd be a good Grindr pic, that.
Hardly. Listen, I've got nothing to boast about. Last time I exposed myself, somebody said, "Madam, please."
So you're doing your radio show every week. One thing that your radio show is kind of famous for is, especially with comics, is comics from Liverpool, especially because when you're travelling around and then you're driving back, you're on your drive back, you know you're nearly home when pre-price, when you can kind of tune into pre-price and listen to it. But you get a lot of like obviously serious phone calls. And you help a lot of people, and you're famous for kind of giving your number out to people who want extra help and stuff like that, which is a lovely thing to do. But you get a lot of prank calls as well.
The prank calls made it, but I mean, it is a cross section. I mean, one day we had a prank call from a guy who reckons he was a Peter Kay, and it was Peter Kay, and he used it on the video. So you're right, acts, not just comics, acts, bands, everybody used to listen to the show.
A couple of my mates have prank called you in the past.
Well, it's interesting when somebody comes up to me in the street and says about prank calls. If you go onto YouTube and put my name in, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
there's
I'd
about
look.
500, 600
Yeah.
videos on there. There are prank calls. There's a real serious side to my show, because it's incredibly lonely late at night, and you can have all the money in the world, but loneliness is a horrible disease, and so we're always there to protect people, which is great. The two huge stories that changed my life forever, and did change my life forever, was a boy called Michael, who was 12 years old, rang up and he said he was going to commit suicide. Now, with the prank calls, you're in a position to think, now what do I do with this? What actually happens with this? Because if it's a prank call and I put the phone down and it's not a prank call, my career's over. I can't let a boy who actually, I've been doing it for so many years, I knew was a cry for help. So once again, long story short, I kept him on the line, and he was going to hang himself from a tree. I said, if I come and get you, would you not do anything, and would you let me take you to hospital? And he said, you wouldn't come and get me. I said, I'll walk out of the show. No, you wouldn't. I said, I will walk out of the show if you let me take you to hospital. So I did. I set everything up. Because I didn't know if I was being set up. So, and you know, Liverpool's not a city; it's a town. Yeah. We all know each other. Taxi drivers were in place. I'd rung privately while I was driving there because he was near Everton Ground, so he was hiding one of the roads up there. He'd been to the park just down the road. So I got the taxi drivers in place, and I got the police in place. Just so they wouldn't see it, but I needed to protect myself because I don't know what's going on. So I did it. Went. He got in the car. Bless him. He was quite tiny. He was in a terrible state, and I took him to the hospital. And it turns out years later that he'd been raped by his father, who was a drug addict, and his mother was watching. Sadly. And funny enough, I bumped into him in town the other week. I didn't know him. He came up to me and said, and his life he's been in and out of prison. He's never changed because he was so damaged. It's been incredibly sad, the whole story, but I saved his life. And the next day I woke up and that story went round the world, and the headlines all around the world was, last night a DJ saved my life. I didn't do it for that. I didn't even think. I just could not put that phone down. Being Liverpool, there's always a funny side to it. If you can ever have a funny side, something like that. But the kids in the car, and I got a mobile phone. The police rang me to see if I was safe. So I'm driving him to hospital, and I picked the phone up, and the cop said, "Are you all right?" I went, "Yeah, yeah, fine." And I put the phone down, and he said to me, "Hey, it's illegal to use your phone while you're driving." I went, "I've just saved your life, you little bastard." Only Liverpool. Wouldn't happen to anyone else, would it? Wouldn't happen. Only a Scouser could do that. But it's sad. So that was great. And the one thing that changed my life forever was the James Bulger case. The story broke on my show. His grandmother, Ralph's mum, Jamie's grandmother, rang my show, Helen Bulger, and I can hear every word right now. And she said, the end of the conversation, "I don't think I'm ever going to see that angel again." Then the story broke, and we knew what was going on. And I became the central point for people to focus, to unwind. The show became from 4 hours to 5 hours, and I had a breakdown after 2 weeks because nobody was counselling me. I was counselling all these people. And we put together the journey. People had seen him from the bus being pulled by these lads and thinking that this child was just being pulled by two brothers. And I knew what had happened to James, and it was dreadful. And to this day, people still don't know half of what went on. It was so bad. I then became friendly with the family over the years. I marched to keep Venables and Thompson in prison. I've been close to Denise for a long, long time, and I love her to death. I've seen her new children being born, and they're all grown up now, and they're great kids. But that's changed my life. I then became a voice for Liverpool, for the world. Every television company wanted to talk to me because it had happened on my show and because I was a broadcaster. I didn't want that to happen, but it was also a voice for me to say, don't have a go at Liverpool. This could have happened anywhere. Sadly, it's Liverpool, but this could have happened anywhere. So there is a responsibility to the radio. And to the listeners, and they're very important. And I've had ridiculous figures over the years. And then you've got the pranks. One of my favourite calls, and I now do it as a gag, so I'm lightening it now. But I had the first ever, I had the first ever Dateline on local radio. In
people
this
phone
country.
you up and they want a date.
But we did it very cleverly. It was called Evening Encounter, and we had 10 weddings, and I genuinely went to the 10 weddings. We genuinely had 10 weddings. Nobody was doing it. I had a girl come up to me at the LGBT march, at Pride March, threw her arms around. She said, "Because of you, my mum and dad met, I wouldn't have been here." So it was great. But there's one call that I love, which I now do as a gag in my act, but it actually is a true story.
Yeah.
So, as I say, Liverpool's a village. So this lad came on. He went, "Hiya." I went, "Hiya." I went, "Hiya." So, right, we've established he's on my bus. So straight away, we're on the same wavelength. I think it's great what you do with this Evening Council and all these people being like, no one in my life. Don't get upset. I am upset. I just want to meet someone. Don't get upset. So I calmed it down. We talked. Let's see if we can find you someone. So tell me about yourself. So we talked away, and it was all great, and everything was great. And then he went, I said, "Have you got any hobbies?" He went, "Gnomes." I said, "Pardon?" He said, "Collect garden gnomes." I said, "It's unusual." "Not really, they're my friends." "Pardon?" Now you can't laugh because this guy's crossed the line. He's got a rate. So he said, "I've got 45. He said, "Know all the names?" "Pardon?" Well, I was losing it. I was pulling the mic down going, what's going on? I can't deal with this. I put the mic, 45? Yeah, take them in at night because I don't like to get them wet because they're my friends. And they know each other. Well, I am losing it, but I'm pulling the mic down because I am totally losing this. So I said, "Listen, let's move on from the gnomes. Love me, love my gnomes. Don't move on. Somebody's out there for me. They've got to love gnomes." Well, I am just. So I said, "Tell me what you look like." He said, "I'm 5 foot." I said, "Please tell me I haven't got a red hat and a fishing rod." To which he slammed the phone down. Very cross. 10 minutes later, a woman rang up from Kirby, only in Liverpool. She went, "Hey lads, listen to that fella before, you know. Do you reckon he was homosexual?" That was a true story, which became a gag. So it's a big responsibility, late night radio. And because I've done stand-up comedy and everything I've done, it's been incredible because I can relate to these people. I'm adopted, I'm gay, I fought my sexuality. And I don't want to talk about it now because it upsets me so much, even to this day, but I went into a mental institute to be cured of being a gay man.
Really?
Yep. It's been well documented on television. It's a horrendous story, and I really don't want to bring it down to that level. I'll talk about it one day to you, but it's in the book. So I can relate, and that's why young people can't do phone-ins. They can't. Think of it, because you don't know what's going to come on there. You can edit, you can do what you want, and they're always live, but you can say, what are you going to talk to Peter about? I mean, I'll never forget it. I was given as an example. I'm going to talk about the Russian dissidents that are coming to this country, and so they are. There's McCall. But I know he's going to change his mind. I went, so what do you want to talk about? Seen the price of jeans these days? What about Russian? Oh, yeah, the Russian dissidents wear them as well. Fine. So you've got to be able to deal with it. But as a stand-up comic, you can deal with issues.
Do you still love it? You still love doing it? I know you've
not as much. No, I've got to be totally honest, not as much. Social media's killed lots of phone-ins throughout the world because people, why should I talk to him and wait on the phone when I can just say F off, da-da, da-da, da-da.
Yeah, on Twitter.
There was 2 world wars to fight to give us the freedom of speech, and people won't come on that show. It makes me so angry. It really makes me so angry. It's a waste. There are countries out there that would kill to be us. Kill to be us.
So are you finding it's more and more difficult to get people to call
the listeners,
in?
They just won't come on.
You just don't want to speak now?
Makes me angry. They listen. And then you'll get a call. I price. I've been listening 20. What is it? First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah.
Really? How long you been listening? 20 years. What? You've never rung him once? No, I didn't feel like I should. Just. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sad because it's a waste, and one day we'll lose it, and then they'll say, "What's happened?"
Do you think that'll happen with radio? Do you think it's going?
Radio's gone in different directions. I mean, right now, my new claim to fame, I'm on Alexa. If Alexa do it now. Alexa, put Radio City Talk on. Now, that won't work here, but at home now, they've all got mental.
I've had to change mine. You can change the name of it now, because my little boy's called Alex, and I kept setting it off every time I
never knew that.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
You can use Echo, Amazon, or computer now.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so...
Because Phil Redmond, who created... Brookside, and is retired now and fantastically successful and wealthy and virtually owned Channel 4, etc., etc. He bought one for his wife and forgot her name was Alexa. A day it lasted. Thank God they've got a 40-bedroom house or whatever it is, so they can put it in a different room. Sorry about that, Phil.
Oh, well, it's been lovely chatting to you.
How long have we done, by the way?
I don't know. We've done about an hour, I think.
Past 2?
Yeah, done about an hour. It's been lovely chatting to you, Peter. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, I don't think I've ever sat in front of sweets like this before in my life.
It's a temptation, isn't it? They're good as well.
Have a little sweetie.
Have one, Pete.
Well, you can't
have a little love heart.
I was?
Have a little love heart. Go on.
There's a love heart.
There they are, there.
Oh, is that what they are?
Yeah. That's a cherry, that.
Hang on, what's
You're
that?
taking that because it looks like a willy, Pete.
No, I didn't take that for a willy. It just reminded me I must get my hemorrhoids done. Sorry about that, sweetie people. I love the T-shirt. It's just a bit sort of camp man. That T-shirt would look nice with just a jock strap. I'm not chatting him up.
It's a sexual harassment in the workplace, this, Pete.
Sorry? Is this a workplace? God bless.
This is as close to the workplace as we get. So you got lots coming up then. Lots of exciting projects. The play's the big thing. So it's called Pete Price is Dead.
Pete Price is Dead.
Starts on the 7th of March.
7th of March. Still tickets on sale, but really it is selling ridiculously.
Yeah. Where'd you get the tickets? Royal Court?
The Royal Court, yeah. You can get them online. Got my radio show every Sunday, 10 o'clock on Radio City Talk and Greatest Hits. Right for the Echo on a Thursday. And if you ask me back here, I'd love to come back again.
I would love to have you back, Pete. It's been an absolute pleasure. You were a darling man.
And I'm thrilled that you remember what I did for you, because people helped me over the years and it cost nothing to be nice.
Yeah, you were very lovely to me and I always appreciate it.
I've done a gig with you, you know.
Have you?
Yeah, it was on the docks and it was like a outside stage. And I went on and done the set and died on my ass. And then you come on and said I done really well on stage and said I've got a big set of balls on me for doing it.
I actually said that.
Yeah.
Or words to that effect.
Oh, no.
I can't honestly see me saying that to a young lad.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, it was
Actually,
nice, though, but it was like a positive set of balls. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't...
No, but I didn't actually say
Positive balls.
what you said.
Along those lines, Pete.
Yeah, but not... No! Well, I've got to say, this can go out now, and all you that have a go at me looking for clips to put on and do all your usual crap. I never said the F word, never said the C word, and I didn't mention his balls. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Steve.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you again to our sponsors, Eye Candy Delivery, Slideway Records. Who else did we have this week?
Black Label.
Black Label. For the good tops. And
He's done no
Hot Water
work in
Comedy
with
Club.
the guitar, has he?
Danny Bradley, thank you for our jingles and musical loveliness again. Give us one more, Pete Price.
One more Pete Price.
Yeah, before you play us out.
I nearly played a pre-AIDS one earlier, but I bowled it.
I'm glad about that.
Do it, Danny. Do it.
A pre-AIDS jingle.
Isn't it amazing when you go home, with pre-AIDS, it was like, what am I going to do? I've got craps. That was about it.
Pre-AIDS was a different time.
Was indeed.
This will be my last podcast.
Let's save for time.
Danny can't come back.
Don't forget, safe sex, all of you, heterosexuals, whatever, it's still out there. Safe sex, important. Shall I finish with my favourite gag?
Yeah, go for it, Pete.
Yeah, finish on a
Go on.
gag.
I'll finish
Why
on a
not?
gag.
And then a song, Pete. Come on.
Yeah, there's a little song.
Let's do it old school.
Not without rehearse.
Oh,
Not
come on,
rehearsals.
Pete.
No. Not on the song. CD you can get, but not on the song.
What's your CD called, Pete? Sorry,
Do you know? I don't know what it's called. I think it's called just Pete Price.
Pete Price,
My
CD.
favourite gag I can do on here was written for me by Bob Monkhouse. Bob was like a dad to me. I mean, I stayed with him in Barbados. We were friends, and he gave me a gag as a present. And he was a writer, prolific writer. So this is my favourite gag, which is mine and mine alone. And we all nick, but this is mine.
I don't.
Never ever.
No.
You've never ever, hand on your heart, never nicked a line.
Hand on my heart.
Wow, that's very commendable. You see, in our day, you would say to a comic, that gag, would you mind if I had it because it would fit into a routine?
Yeah.
And if he said no, you wouldn't do it. And if he said yes,
I mean,
you
I'm
would.
going to rob this joke that you're about to say.
Oh, no, you can't do this gag.
Can't do it.
No,
You'll see me do this joke, Pete.
No, you can do it as Pete Price. You can't do it as yourself.
We'll go on just as a
otherwise
lizard.
we'll do the interview again. So, here's the gag. I love women. Women don't love me. Somebody said to me, put a magnet on your zip. If a woman walks past, a bracelet, a watch, a handle connect, you're in. I went, I'll do me. Put a magnet on my zip. Trust me to get a fella with a brace on his teeth. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week. See you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Play us out.